Evening, guys. Evening. Has Jordan Henderson let himself down? Let's talk about it. Yes, guys, good evening. Welcome back to the show, guys. Hope everyone's doing well. So, guys, before we start, don't forget to hit that like button. Let's get them likes up straight away if you can. Subscribe if you're new. You know all the things to do, guys. But look, we've got a lot to talk about. We've got this Jordan Henderson debacle to just go through. And then we're going to talk about Liverpool's season so far, how you rate the season so far, what the good points, the negatives, the positives, all that sort of stuff. And the transfer window this summer. And we'll finish on the Mo Salah stuff. To join me tonight, I've got Ben. How you doing, my man?
Yeah, I'm all good, mate, to be fair. Thank you. Bit disappointed, to be honest. It's international break after the start we've had. But listen, it is what it is. 3 wins out of 4. Can't complain, mate.
Yeah, exactly. I hate international break. It is so depressing when you're a football fan, when your club season starts. And especially when you're in good nick as well. You know, I just want another game next week, and then you got to go and watch England play now. So great. I don't even know who England playing. I don't even care. But big up to everyone in chat. Hope everyone's doing well, guys. Like, what we're going to do? We're going to talk about Jordan Henderson to start with. I know everyone's had their say. I had a bit of my say on the Jordan Henderson stuff yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before when I did a video on it, and it all came out that morning, and then part 2 came out after I finished, and I was like, okay, because I don't know if you saw it, Ben. In that, when I was talking about it the other day, the first bits I read, because only bits came out gradually through the day, and then so what I read before I did my video, I didn't see much wrong in what Jordan said, but then when my video finished and I went back and read more, I was like, is this the same captain that was at our club?
Yeah.
What was your first thoughts, man?
Disappointed, to be honest. Just purely based on the fact that I have defended him. Ever since he left, or whenever that decision was made, even when he was still here and he was playing week in, week out. You know, there came a time last season where, you have to agree with the masses that he wasn't performing well. Of course, anybody would be silly to disagree with that. But as a captain figure, as a personality, I would always defend him, and I always stuck up for him. And I just feel a bit let down by his comments. And I agree with what you say to some extent. There isn't too much wrong with what he initially said, but it just for me, it comes from a sense of bitterness, and rather than leaving on a high like Firmino and Milner did, having nothing but good words to say about the manager and the club, wishing them all the best going forward, it kind of seems like he's not getting what he wants. So he's going to go, and then he's going to do an interview with David Ornstein, one of 2 biggest journalists in the world. Exactly. And now he's going to say all this stuff. And I was just, the one thing that I was let down by the most is the fact that he was crying because he felt like if he stayed, then the playtime would have been less. Well, what did you expect on the back of last season? Did you expect to carry on playing week in, week out when we signed 4 midfielders? We see an interview from young Stefan Bajcetic today. One quote from that interview was absolute key, and he said, when you play for Liverpool, your position's not guaranteed. You have to fight for it. And an 18-year-old's telling us that, mate. You know what I mean? If an 18-year-old has that mentality and the club captain or the former club captain can't see that, then there's already big question marks. And we could talk about this for days, but all of the LGBT stuff and that's not my position to say, because I'm not part of that community. I'm sure there's so many good articles you could read on that if you wanted to. But what I will say is Brendan Rodgers came out. I don't know if you saw this evening and defended Jordan Henderson and said, "Oh, there's a lot of morality officers around." Well, Jordan Henderson was the biggest morality officer. He had a lot to say about Qatar and the World Cup, human rights. He said that it was a disgrace that it was going to be there. And then he goes and gets the bag at Saudi Arabia, and now all of a sudden he's preaching to us, telling us that we have to, just sort of respect it. And whatever, if you respect it or disrespect it, that's up to you. But I just don't understand how we can go from 1 minute, preaching all this stuff about rights and Qatar and countries like that, to then, oh, actually, hang on a minute, let's all, do this and agree with this. It just makes no sense to me. It's clearly money motivated. He said it's not. Absolute nonsense. He said, I don't know if he said this, but someone said, all the money that was quoted from the press is wrong. He's actually only on this amount. Well, it was actually David Ornstein that reported how much money he was going to be on. So why would Jordan Henderson do that interview with him if he knew that this guy lied about his wage? The whole thing is just weird to me, mate. I can't put my head around it. I don't know what he thought it would benefit doing that interview. And like you say, when that part 2 came out, when he thanked the owners, he bigged up the owners. He went on a rampage about how good the owners are. And I'm still yet to see him say anything about the man that literally made Jordan Brian Henderson the player he is. Without Jurgen Klopp, mate, if another manager comes into that club, he's gone. He's not starting. He's not being the captain. He's gone. And Jurgen Klopp put his neck on the line and took so much stick from fans like me and yourself and other people for carrying on wanting him and gave him a new deal. None of our rivals would have given him that deal. We did. And all of that was because of Jurgen Klopp going against the owners, going against anybody else to say, look, let's give this guy a deal. And this is how he repays Jurgen Klopp and the club. So for me, mate, it just comes from a sense of bitterness. He's seen Szoboszlai play desperately better than he's ever done in 4 games. So it's just a bit of arrogance, bitterness, and betrayal for me.
Yeah, look, I agree with everything you said there. I think Punjabi Firmino says it best. Some like Hendo in a word, selfish. And we got my man with the super chat. It's as I said, I did my video yesterday when the first comments come out, and as I said, when I did my video yesterday talking about it, and I didn't see a lot of wrong what he said. Then he came out with more of the interview came out after I finished that video, and it shocked me a little bit because he's been a club captain since Stevie G left. He's been the ambassador for Liverpool Football Club all around the world. He came from a place where no one wanted him. No Liverpool fan really wanted Jordan Henderson. When we bid 20 million for him from Sunderland, he got accepted. A lot of Liverpool fans were down about it.
Big money at the time.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of money back then. And a lot of people were down about that kind of transfer. And the managers that he played for believed in him. Brendan Rodgers apart, probably, because Brendan wanted to get rid of him, Clint Dempsey. Talk glad that never happened. And Hendo, to fair to him, stuck by his gun, said, I want to play for Liverpool. You ain't letting me go to Fulham. I don't want to go there. And then Klopp, and this is the thing that gets me. He can say whatever he wants, yeah, right? But Jurgen Klopp stuck look, I've had my things with Jurgen Klopp last season, but this season it turns around because he's doing a great job so far, so I ain't got nothing bad to say. But Jurgen Klopp put his head out. He put his neck on the line for Jordan Henderson, in my opinion, quite a few times. That when, what was it, 2 years ago when his contract was coming up for renewal? If you go back on that now, I literally think Hendo held the club to ransom a little bit. If you go back and look at the way Hendo sort of represented himself a couple of years ago when he wanted that new contract. You know, things coming out like, I'll go to Atletico Madrid and stuff like this if you don't sign me.
PSG, I think,
Never
as well.
once, yeah, never once did I ever see any truth that them clubs were in for Jordan Henderson. And he got his new deal. And FSG didn't really want to give him a new deal. Michael Edwards didn't want to give him a new deal. Jurgen Klopp wanted to give him a new deal. And he put his neck out for him. Jordan Henderson won everything in football because of Jurgen Klopp. Right? Believing in him, making him the player he wanted to be. When there's fans out there who never liked Jordan Henderson, even to this day, there's a lot of fans out there who thought he outstayed his welcome at 33. You know, he was here too long. Klopp showed too much favouritism to him. And then he goes and really, the dig when I sort of read when he said about, I never got the thing that FSG and Klopp wanted me. And then he basically had a dig at Klopp. I don't know if you saw that, read that bit where he sort of like when Klopp was saying about the team he's got now. And Henderson felt hurt by that. Like, I love these boys now. Got like when he's talking about Szoboszlai and McAllister and all that, and Hendo looked a bit hurt. Like, I think Hendo got hurt by that. But what do you want Klopp to say? He's the manager of these players, He's trying to make these players settle straight away. He's going to big them up. He's not going to go, oh, we really miss Jordan Henderson. Szoboszlai, it's not quite Hendo, but yeah, get there. Is that what he wanted him to say? Because I don't get it. I look at someone like Bobby Firmino, who I believe, I might be wrong on this, some people might think I'm wrong, is a bigger legend than Jordan Henderson at Liverpool. All right, Bobby Firmino. Look at the goodbye he got. I believe Jordan Henderson, deep down, is gutted he didn't get that same goodbye. And I think that's where a lot of this bitterness comes from. I feel like he left through the back door, didn't he? Let's face it, that he left through the back door. But, Ben, how much of that was it of his doing and not the club's?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think, the whole thing about him not being wanted or loved by the club anymore, Jurgen Klopp, even up until he left, stated that, he would keep Jordan Henderson and he plans to go into the season with Jordan Henderson captain in the team. When an offer comes in to any player in this Liverpool team, it's always going to be considered. The Mo Salah offer would have been considered. Fabinho's £40 million offer would have been considered. Just because you're Jordan Henderson doesn't mean they're not going to consider the offer. Ultimately, it's down to him if he wants to go or not. And Klopp made that clear. Like I say, Klopp wanted him. He said it in so many press conferences that, he wants Jordan Henderson, and he probably wanted to keep Milner as well. Milner, another one, by the way, gone right. He was already ridiculously respected by myself, but even more so now. Just on a sidetrack, mate, 3-4 seasons, the guy probably made 10 starts a season if he was lucky. Never kicked up a fuss. Never did an interview when he signed for Brighton, moaning about the club.
He knew his place.
Exactly. And when he was called into the lineup, he did a job every single time. And I've got so much respect for James Milner. But Henderson, obviously, like, the club have accepted the offer, whatever he's got to say. But one of them's lying. Now, is it going to be Jurgen Klopp who says that he wants to keep Jordan Henderson? Or is it going to be Jordan Henderson who's gone to Saudi Arabia for money? I think I'm pretty sure I know who's telling porcupines here. And whatever he's done, I mean, there was talk that, this interview was an attempt for Jordan Henderson, one final PR push to protect his brand, whatever that means.
What brand?
Exactly, yeah. But I don't know. It's just weird. As far as I was concerned, when he left, he did a video on Instagram. He'd thanked who he needed to thank. He didn't thank Klopp again at that moment in time, which again was a bit strange looking back now. So I just thought, oh, he's the other side of the world. We move on. We have moved on. Like I said, Szoboszlai's come in. He's been absolutely incredible for us. McAllister's been very good. We've got Ryan Gravenberch now. Obviously, Hendo's not really featured too much. But
they're all better players.
Exactly, and we've moved on as a club, and this club will always move on. Even hypothetically speaking, if we sold Mo Salah this window, which we're not, by the way, let's just make that clear. But if we did, in time, the club would move on. The club stands still for nobody, especially Jordan Henderson. I don't understand why he's had to go to David Ornstein and just be like a baby throwing his toys out of the pram. You got what you wanted, which is the money. You've won everything you need to win. You've had a privilege which kids like me and yourself would dream of, to captain this club. Like, imagine that just for one season. This guy did it for over a decade. He won everything there was to win. Just go out with some grace. Go out with some decorum. Thank Jurgen Klopp, first of all, because FSG, Michael Edwards, whoever welcomed you to the club, I don't really care. That's all one thing. But we all know that Jurgen Klopp is the main reason for any of our success over the last 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
So thank him. Whether he's going to do that at a later date, I don't know. But it is just very sour, especially when, you know, I always praise these kind of attributes that we're not seeing from Jordan Henderson now, to sort of compensate for his ability. You know, behind the scenes, he's a really good guy. He's a leader. He believes in this. He sticks up for this. It's out the window now, mate. I'm not going to do it again. I'm not saying I'm, you know, completely finished with Hendo. Like, you know, for what he did for the club, I still love him for that. But yeah, this just didn't really sit right with me.
No, and like, there's a few things I don't get when he talks about, you know, his place in the team. You know, Henderson was trying to get Bellingham to Liverpool. Did you think Bellingham was going to sit on bench for him? You know, I don't. This is what I don't get. You know, look, Henderson. All it's coming off of Henderson's got quite a big ego about himself, and that's what's sort of coming off to a lot of people now. It's fine having an ego, right? It really is. If you're Messi and Ronaldo and that level of player, you can understand the ego a little bit more, you know. But he's very. There was a thing in the interview where he talks I a lot. I. He's very He seems very self-absorbed in himself, and I never knew that about Jordan. I always thought Jordan was a great guy. I used to praise Jordan Henderson to the hill for the captaincy and leadership he showed through COVID. You know, through what he got all the other captains to do, and you know, the help he tried and the charity work and all that sort of stuff. You know, he was a pillar, and that's why people put him up on this pedestal as that leader, because what he did through COVID and the pandemic. And that's why him going to Saudi has really hurt a lot of people, and especially the certain charities and the certain foundations that can't really support him now because he's gone to a country where they don't support that. Mm-hmm. It's difficult, you know, and then he comes out and says stuff that I just sit there and go, hang on, like, I literally think he would have been the first if he turned around to David Ornstein and who was the other guy who did it?
Adam Crafton.
Yeah, it's Adam Crafton. And if he turned around to them two and just, I came here for the money. I'm 33 years of age. They're offering me good money, tax free. Why would I not turn it down? I think he would have got more respect from people than doing this interview that he did. I really do. I think we were all sat there and gone, all right, well said, Jordan. Well said. You said what we all think anyway. So, well, you know, you had the guts to say it. But then he goes around talking all these little riddles, and it don't make sense to me. Look, him feeling butthurt that we got new players in, and he was going to be a squad player and not get minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. Like, he said he got himself in the best shape of his career, and he said, like, everyone saw the pictures, and like, look, you can be in great shape. Yeah. John Barnes was never in great shape. But you know what I mean? But he was 50 times a footballer. You know, you could be in this great shape all you want to be, and I can see you put the effort in and the hard work to try and go again this season. And Jordan Henderson probably does love the football club. He's been here long enough, you know. Sunderland and Liverpool probably his two clubs now. And he really wanted to try for Liverpool this season and give it a real good go and get Liverpool back where they were. But Jurgen Klopp thought differently. He's the manager. He thought differently. He actually didn't want Jurgen didn't want Hendo to go. He wanted to be part of the squad. His opinion was you just weren't going to get the minutes you used to. But Fabinho left, and put a lovely message up on social media. Not heard no fuss about Fabinho. He's not slagged anyone off. Bobby Firmino left. Couldn't have left him more of a hero. Milner left. Just praises the club, even at Brighton. You know, Oxlade-Chamberlain, not a bad word. Look, if Ox came out and had some bad words, I could be like, oh, okay, maybe, yeah. But yeah, it's just, he's full of praise. You know, his thing he wrote on social media, you know, about Liverpool Football Club. And he thanked the manager and the owner and everyone like that. But I don't know what it is, but every time Hendo spoke since he's left, he's not mentioned Jurgen once. Which is a bit weird to me, because it's the manager who's had all his success in his career under. That made him. Let's face it. He made him the player he is, and I find it all a bit strange. Do you know what I think Henderson wanted? He wanted his Ronaldo moment.
Yeah.
Now Ronaldo did his interview with Piers Morgan.
Oh, yeah.
And he basically said quite a lot of things that, if you put two and two together, if you put it together, really, Ronaldo felt like he was forced out of Man United by the manager and went on Piers Morgan and just ran them all down. Jordan Henderson feels like he was forced out of Liverpool. And he wanted this moment to have his say on it, that this is how it is. And I think in his head, Hendo thought this was a good interview. Everyone now knows my place and what happened. But it's total opposite, isn't it? Total opposite.
Yeah. Can I just read something? This is from Steven Gerrard when he left the club, okay? This is what he said. This has been the toughest decision of my life and one which both me and my family have agonized over for a good deal of time. I am making the announcement now so that the manager and the team are not distracted by stories or speculation about my future. Already an amazing start. Liverpool Football Club has been such a huge part of all of our lives for so long, and saying goodbye is going to be difficult. But I feel it's something that's in the best interest of all involved, not just Steven Gerrard, for financial reasons, for the club as well. But I feel it's something in the best interest, I read that bit, including my family and the club itself. And I can't thank Brendan, the owners, and everyone at the club enough for how they've handled this, and I am leaving on great terms. Also, I would like to thank my teammates and all the staff for their help and continued support. And I know Steven Gerrard is just a million times the player, the captain, the leader Jordan Henderson will ever be. But, that just reading the difference between the two things, Stevie knew his days were done. He was, 34, 35. His legs had completely gone. He was having to play as a DM, which he didn't really want to do. And he knew that if he stayed around, which he's spoken about since, he said if he knew Klopp was coming the year after, he maybe stuck around for a bit longer. But he knew that he would have held the club back because you're not going to have Steven Gerrard on the bench. So for the sake of himself, his family, the club, everything, he decided, you know what, it's time to move to the MLS and give it a crack there for a season. And that just shows the difference, mate, between the two captains for me. Henderson's never been able to be compared to Steven Gerrard for football ability. There's always been the off-pitch stuff or the leadership traits. But I think just when you read that on how Steven Gerrard left the club, when he'd accepted that, he wasn't the Steven Gerrard that we'd all watched over the last 15, 20 years, it just makes you realize how bad Jordan Henderson has really handled all of this.
Yeah, I used to compare Gerrard and Hendo through their captaincy because, growing up, they're the two captains that probably come to Liverpool, most Liverpool fans' minds if you're between 40 and under, probably. They've been the two captains of Liverpool who've gone through all more glory than anyone else. Sammy Hippie was about Jamie Redknapp, Robbie Fowler, Alan Hansen. You put, and there was a lot of people talking. I think there was a lot of debates between Liverpool fans that for a couple of years back, is Hendo up there with Stevie as a captain of Liverpool Football Club? A lot of people were having these conversations, and I could understand it because his leadership looked quality. He did look like he had these great leadership skills, and now it comes out, and I don't know if there's something happened behind the scenes or something like that, or he just didn't like Klopp telling him, look, you're no more my, did Hendo think he was Klopp's boy, thing like that, and they're tight, and no matter who's going to come in.
He probably just got too comfortable playing poorly last season. He probably just thought, no matter how poorly I play, I'm the captain, I'm going to start. Yeah.
I mean, you look at him since he's been at Liverpool. Kenny Dalglish brought him in. Mm-hmm. He played under Kenny. He played literally under every Liverpool manager. Brendan wanted him gone at a time, and that's when it all went a bit pear-shaped for Hendo. I remember watching his documentary about it and reading in his book, he talks about it as well, where, the time under Brendan was difficult. And then Klopp came along. He didn't play under Klopp straight away because of what happened with Brendan, but as soon as he got in the team, he was never present. He was the leader, captain. And he's never been a squad player in his whole career, really. Henderson's never really been a squad player. Mm-hmm. And that's what he was becoming at 33. And I don't think he could handle that. Mm-hmm. I don't think he could handle not being a first-team footballer anymore. And because he wasn't losing the captaincy either. Now, Klopp weren't taking the captaincy off him. He was still going to be club captain. He just wasn't guaranteed to play every week. But if he loved the club as much as we think he and much he says he does, then surely he wants better players at his football club and a better squad to go and chase things and try and compete. You know, you've got Szoboszlai's taking your place, then you've got to make an effort to try and take it back. That makes Liverpool a better team, makes you a better player. You can't just sit there in comfort land and thinking no one's going to take your place because you're Jordan Henderson at the end of the day. You're not. If we got a brand new right winger was taking Mo Salah's place, I could understand Mo kicking off a bit. That would make sense to me because what Mo's done for Liverpool, 5th all-time goal scorer in our football club, probably the greatest right winger that's ever played for Liverpool. No, I could understand. And in the Prem, yeah. And you can understand if Salah kicked off a little bit. You know what I mean? You could get that. I just don't get this. I think it's egotistical. It's all about me. And I just don't think he came across very well. He come across, I hate to use this word, he come across unlikable. And that, I didn't think I'd ever say that about Jordan Henderson, but he literally came across quite unlikable. Now, there's people talking about that. Sorry, that is my kid. I'm going right. There's people talking about, like, because when the money situation about Saudi come up and they put it to it like, did you just go because of the money sort of thing? And then people are talking now. So a rumor came out that Hendo's apparently only on 130 grand a week at Saudi, which, look, even if it was true, that's tax free. I spoke about this the other day. We all work, yeah. We all get 40% tax or whatever it is you get on your tax, yeah. It's a big tax, yeah. Footballers get 40%, we get around 20%, the average. If you earn, the average man or woman earns around £1,200 a month in this country, yeah, you're taking home 900 quid probably after national insurance and tax, yeah. It's the difference in getting all your wages not taxed is massive. Like, we can't think of that number. So you imagine if he is getting 130 grand a week, all that's his, no tax. If he's getting 180 grand a week at Liverpool and he's getting 40% tax on it, it's still a lot of money he's getting at Saudi. So I don't believe he's getting, if he is getting 130 grand a week, he's getting add-ons as well. He's probably getting like little deals and things like that. Yeah, all that around as well. So I think he's definitely making a living, ain't he, Ben? Let's put it that way.
100%. And he'll have sponsorships. He'll probably even get goal and assist bonuses. And I know that might sound crazy with Jordan Henderson, but the league is that poor, mate. We saw it the other day. He got 2 assists. So if he's getting bonuses for that, that's already a lot of money in his pocket. But yeah, if it wasn't about money, the fact of the matter is he would have stayed in England somewhere. Someone would have taken him. If it wasn't money driven, whatever level, even if he went back to Sunderland and sort of retired there, if it wasn't about money, maybe that's something he would have looked at. It's only in Championship. It's not like, I'm not saying Henderson's a Championship standard player, but I don't think he would have looked out of place there when you look at how competitive that division is now. But yeah, only he'll know the real reasons. Only he'll know if he's telling the truth or he's telling a few porcupines. I'd suspect he's telling a few porcupines. To be honest, like I said, mate, it's just very disappointing because, like I say, as soon as he left and he signed for Al-Ettifaq and all of these things, I just thought that was going to be the end of it. I thought we'll not have to speak about him again. Maybe he comes back for a testimonial. Well, I doubt that's going to happen now. Surely, as long as Klopp's here, at least that's not going to happen now, because I think Klopp will have also been reading these quotes thinking, wow, like, is this really what I deserve? And I'm not saying it has to be about Klopp, but what I am saying is that we've said 100 times, mate, when he's put everything on the line to keep Jordan Henderson at this club as the captain, starting games, the amount of backlash he's got online, it's just very disappointing. It's a kick in the teeth and never just a mac and face. Well, maybe so.
Yeah, he said him and Gerrard never discussed money. Yeah. Look, if I was a footballer and I knew Saudi would come calling for me, that's the first thing I'm discussing. I don't mean to be saying horrible like that,
No, absolutely. And
everyone knows
let's
they got more money than anyone. So you
let's
go
be
and
real
make
as well, mate.
yeah,
We'd go. So
yeah.
let's get that clear. We'd all go if they were gonna quadruple our wages, we'd go. But I think, like you said before, the important part to remember is to just be honest. And then I think people would just think, "Yeah, you know what, fair enough. You're 34, 33, I don't even
I
know how
wouldn't.
old he is. Just
Lucky I'm
get
not a
your
footballer.
retirement package, yeah. But he's
Lucky I'm not a
obviously
footballer.
yeah.
Because I would just tell the truth. I mean, what are you hiding? It's not like I can't Google your wages. Do you know? It's just,
Mm.
it's just admit it. Yeah, I'm making bank. Yeah, what of it? 33, I ain't got long left. I want to make as much as I can. Liverpool will go off me that. Wouldn't have all you lot left? And then like you look at it and go, all right, Hendo, all right, I'll give you that, man. I'll give you that. And we don't talk about it. We just leave him be. But
Mm.
look at bloody Fabinho. Some fan just gave him a Rolex off his own arm. Going down the tunnel. It's madness. I think Saudi Arabia are the second biggest spenders in transfers in world football, apart from the Premier League this season as well. So they're going to be spending big time, and it's going to carry on. But the one thing I will say that I think that's got everyone's going at Hendo at the moment is because he rated FSG. Now, this is the thing that's got everyone a bit. You don't. Obviously, FSG are not Liverpool fans' favourite people. I can understand it. Don't worry, guys. But Hendo really bigged them up in a way that he never bigged up the manager.
Mm-hmm.
And even people that might like FSG and don't see a problem with them, even they were like, "Oh, hang on, you don't work for them no more. You can just say it as it is." You know what I mean? But Hendo weren't. It's like he wanted to still be in their good graces. It was unless he really likes them. I just found it a bit of a weird comment.
It's obviously why he loves him, mate. Like,
Yeah.
what was that deal he got? Over 200 grand a week, 3-4 year deal when he was 32.
Yeah.
He's not gonna get better. You're gonna love him. You're only gonna have good words to say about him from a selfish point of view. They've given him 2 contracts, I believe, in his time here, maybe even 3. I'm not sure, but yeah, when they get prepared to give him money that no other club in the world is prepared, apart from Al-Ettifaq, obviously. He's obviously going to love him, and I think that's why. Obviously, it's disappointing he's not said anything about Klopp because he's thanking the people that paid his wages. He's not thanking the man that made him the player.
Yeah. It's just it's a weird one. It is. I hope Endo has a great career and he earns what he earns and he goes on to do good stuff. Talking about his club now, so apparently their club have got new directors in who have taken over the club who are worth 502 billion or something like that. So yeah, Stevie's spending next summer. You know, yeah, that spending ain't going to stop. That ain't going to stop, guys. There's no doubt about that, and I'm sure Hendo will get well paid. Right off the Hendo stuff, guys. That's mine and Ben's opinion on it in a way. So I'm sure there's other people going to be talking about this, but let's go on to other things. Let's go into the start of this season, Ben. Let's talk about the positives and good stuff. So start of this season, 4 games played, 10 points. Happy?
Delighted, mate. Absolutely delighted. I think if you showed those fixtures to anybody at the start of the season and said Liverpool are going to go 10 out of 12, I think people would have thought, yeah, it's not really realistic. Probably looking to get 8 or 9, but 10 out of 12 when you look at the away games we've had, Stamford Bridge and Newcastle, which on paper, 2 of the toughest aways. Newcastle, I believe, only lost once last year, and that was to us. And Stamford Bridge, we all know how stinky that game is. So, yeah, looking back, mate, I was fortunate enough to be at the 2 away games, which is mad, by the way, because I've not had a sniff at home tickets, which is just crazy. But yeah, the Chelsea one, I'll just quickly go through them. I think if we played the Chelsea one now, we'd probably win it. But I feel like because it was the first game of the season, we hadn't really figured out what we were doing. We hadn't really got any. Yeah, exactly. Going into that with no sort of momentum, it's probably one of the worst games we could have had. But we get a positive result. A 1-1 at Stamford Bridge. It is what it is. I think the first half we probably should have scored more, but then I think, after half time, I think Chelsea came into it a bit. So on reflection of that, I think the draw was fair enough. And then we obviously beat Bournemouth 3-1 at home with 10 men as well, by the way. Obviously, McAllister gets sent off in the 58th minute. So, we had to show some real determination to see that game through. Obviously, we conceded the early goal, which I think if that happens last season, we lose the game or at least draw the game. But this season, we are looking to put that right now. Teams like Bournemouth, Leeds, Nottingham Forest, all those kind of teams last season were the ones that we ultimately suffered from. And those are the results that didn't get us top four, not the rival games. We were actually okay in those games, but it was the teams that are lesser Premier League sides that was the problem. And if we can put that right this season, then I think we'll be just fine. And the last two, Newcastle away, that will never be topped for me as somebody that likes to go whenever I can. I don't think that game, especially for aways, will ever be topped in the league, because it felt like being in that stadium at 1-0 down. Trent was already treading thin ice. Then Virgil gets sent off. It honestly felt like it was going to be 3-4, 5-0 at one point. And I said to my brother, like, this is going to get ugly. This is going to get really ugly. But I think the way that, and I'm sure we'll get on to Jurgen Klopp in more detail in a bit, but the way he handled that specific game, I felt like there's a bit of a shift here for us now. And this could almost be a game that goes on to make us this season. And the changes he made, I remember people were not happy that Diaz got taken off when we went down to 10. But I kind of saw it because he was the one out of the attackers that is probably less known for defending, coming back and doing the dirty work. So I kind of understood it. And then obviously to get the win in that game, Darwin Núñez from the bench with the brace was just a joke. And I'll say it and I'll say it again. Jurgen Klopp deserves every single bit of credit for the way he played that. The subs he made, every single one of them, even young Joel Kwanzaa, Harvey Elliott, they all came on and did a job. And in the Bournemouth game, the Villa game, 3-0, Villa are a side that everyone was tipping for top 6 this season. And we beat them with ease. Dom getting his first goal, unreal goal. Núñez still causing problems. I know it went down as a Matty Cash own goal, but he was a thorn in their backside all game long. And then Salah from the corner that was knocked down by Núñez. So we've done really well, mate. And I know that you was critical for Klopp last season, and that is absolutely fair enough. We should all, remember he's not immune to criticism. But I know you're fair and you will give him the praise as well. I just hope that all the other people that love to sit and cry about him every day when they're not getting what they want, I hope that they also say, you know what, Jurgen Klopp, he's doing his thing like we all said he would. He's got the players in that he wants. And hopefully, I know it's only 4 games in, what we've taken from the first 4 games is what we can take for the next 25, 30, because I was adamant that we'd get top 4 this season again if we recruit in the right way. And yes, there's still question marks over what we haven't done, whether that be a centre-back or a DM. But with what we've got now, I'd expect us to get minimum top 4 and Europa League. That is what I expect now. But after seeing those first 4 games, mate, why not? Why not give it a go? Why not aim higher than that? You know what I mean? I've looked at all the other teams, apart from Man City. I've not been impressed by any of them. I don't necessarily think Arsenal have been better than us. United are just United. They're just absolutely abysmal.
Yeah,
Tottenham
terrible.
looked all right in a few games, but come on, it's Tottenham. Newcastle are so overhyped, it's a joke.
Yeah.
So why not, mate? Why not aim higher?
People don't want to believe it. That's the problem, Ben. But I'm with you, man. I look, as I said last season, I'm always like this when I look at football and my own team, my own manager, my owners. If someone's doing good, I praise them to hill. If they're doing bad,
Exactly,
I'll let them know that I think they're doing bad. And I think Klopp had an awful year last year. But is he allowed a year off in all the years he's been successful with? Probably. Everyone's allowed it. All I said last year that he needs to learn, and he's a stubborn man. I think we all know that.
Yeah, agreed.
He needs to change his philosophies at times and his system a little bit and things like that. And I think it was in the Newcastle game that maybe woke him up a little bit, because after the Newcastle game, he spoke in an interview and said, the reason why we were better with 10 men is because we were more compact. We didn't attack as much. We took our time. We were more patient. And I think from that against the Villa, and then when I watched us against Villa, I was like, he tweaked the system. And I've been saying this for a while. All he has to do is tweak it a little bit. It's not massive hall changes. We went more compact in the midfield. Our midfield and backline were closer together. Usually, and it might be because Gomez and Matip played, and he didn't want to be. He wanted to give them a little bit more protection because they haven't got the ability to play that high line on their own one-on-one defending like Virgil and Canate have, to say, where he can play that more riskier football. But being that more compact in that team, and Curtis Jones playing, which I think is a massive plus. I'm going to talk about him in a bit because I don't think the praise he's not getting the praise because he's Curtis Jones and people got an issue with him. But it's what he brings the balance to that midfield, which I'll chat about in a bit. But I think that Newcastle game, when he's woke him up a little bit to tweaking the system, I think when I look at these fixtures, the first 4 games of the season, if Liverpool didn't have that awful year last year, I think most Liverpool fans would look at it and thought, should be 10 points at the first 4 games. But because we had that awful season last year, when we saw the fixture list in June, we saw there were our first 4 games. I think all Liverpool fans said, that's a tricky start, because of the season we just had. Chelsea away straight away always going to be difficult, even if you're as good as you are. The Villa game, we know how Villa played against us at Anfield at the end of last season. Really good side. Newcastle, they just got top 4 in Champions League. They're on a high. Got to go to away with them. And Bournemouth takes care of itself, as it always does. And I think we looked at it and thought, geez, we've got to manipulate our way through these 4 games. And then, we've got Wolves and West Ham after. We've got a really hard start to the season. So to come out of it with 10 points, I'm proper chuffed. And, I don't think we've played well till that Villa game.
Still gears to go, yeah.
And that shows me that what this team can achieve. I look at Szoboszlai now, who Szoboszlai and Maddison, for me, are the 2 best signings this summer for their teams, for Tottenham and for Liverpool. I think they're the 2 best transfers this summer for the money they went for. Because Szoboszlai is a £100 million player. I don't care what anyone says. In this market, these days and age, McAllister, I've already said, I think he's Liverpool's number 6 for the whole season. I literally think he's going to play in the number 6 position till Liverpool probably get one in January or the summer. I think that's McAllister's position. But he's going to play it in a different kind of way because I think Klopp's going to try and make the midfield. Klopp's got the players now that can press. Newcastle and Villa, the press was back. That mentality was back. And the mentality in the press was back. Last season, that game against Villa last season, if we had Henderson, Fabinho and Harvey Elliott in our midfield, we probably got beat. Because we wouldn't have been able to press their midfield and stop them doing their thing. Szoboszlai don't stop running. McAllister is a tempo player. He controls the game. He goes so unnoticed at the moment because Szoboszlai is like the sexy footballer. And McAllister, though, he's going unnoticed, but what he's doing is so important because he's a tempo controller. He controls the tempo. He knows how to keep the ball. We got a player in midfield now who rests on the football. I've been wanting one of them we haven't had one properly since Xavi Alonso. Gini Wijnaldum used to be able to do it. He could rest on the football. He was good under the press. And now that's what McAllister brings us. He knows when to slow it down. He knows when to pick the pace up a little bit. And then you've got Szoboszlai doing his thing. He's just unwieldy at the moment. Then you've got Curtis Jones in that Villa game. Curtis Jones didn't start the season properly because he was injured. And once he's fit, Klopp whacks him in. He's got Tyro Hendo there, who he's liked, has played DM. But he looked at it and thought, Curtis Jones gives me balance in this midfield. He tried Gakpo there. The only reason Gakpo was playing is Curtis Jones weren't properly available yet. And it didn't bring us balance. The midfield was a bit disorganised. Now, Curtis Jones might not be everyone's cup of tea, and I get it. I'm with everyone. Have we got better players in our team? Probably. Could we buy a better player than Curtis Jones? More than likely. But it's what he does, what Jurgen Klopp wants him to do as a midfielder. That's the important factor here. He knows the system. He knows how to play the system. And he's good in the system. Now, I've always said it. Football is now about systems. It's not all about individual quality all the time now. It is about systems. And that midfield three of them, from my opinion, McAllister sitting there in that six. Curtis Jones can go and play alongside him a little bit, sometimes defensively wise, and then get forward in his attacking areas. And Szoboszlai with that engine on the right side that can cover the wings, get in the 10 position, a defensive 8. It just got more balance to it, Ben, ain't it? It's just got that. Klopp can play the midfield he's been wanting to play for over 18 months now, in my opinion, with the legs and mobility now he's got in midfield.
Absolutely. And just on the six thing, and look, I know everybody wanted a like for like Fabinho player, you know, like a destroying type of six, but I think you're right. I think we've kind of gone from just relying on a six to do the pressing and the dirty work to having a midfield that can do it. And just the simple change of bringing Szoboszlai into it, McAllister, and whoever else comes in, whether it be Gravenberch or Hendo or Elliott or Jones, you kind of. I'm not saying we don't need a six because you know I think everybody would be a lot more confident if we did have a proper six. But if you know you go with a double pivot or two midfielders that can do the dirty work like McAllister and Szoboszlai can, then I think when you have got 60-70% of the ball, that's almost going to be more beneficial than having somebody that isn't really technical and really good on the ball. Like you look at Czech Decore, would have been absolutely fantastic for us in games, you know, where, okay, it might be more 50-50 possession or even less possession. But, you know, when we're at home against low block sides and, you know, we have to find a way to cut them open, with all due respect to Decore, I'm not entirely sure what benefit he would have been in those games. So I liked what we've done. Again, I still stand by it. I would have loved a DM, a more natural one. But from what we've seen from the lads we've brought in so far, they can all do a job. And you mentioned the press, and that is something, and it's such a basic thing in football. You taught to press when you're a kid, but it was just missing last season for whatever reason, whether it be legs were old or they were told not to press. I don't know.
I think it's more a mobility thing when you look at Henderson there. And I think, look, Harvey last season, I think the appearances Harvey's made this season, it looks like he's learning his role. Now, he's learning that midfield role. I think he's not a natural midfielder, but I think Klopp's trying to make him one now, and he's sort of learning from it. And last season, he would wander out of position. You know, he wouldn't know a defensive position in midfield to pick up on a press. And the pressing last season was very individual, weren't it? Like one would go and no one else would follow.
Yeah.
Now one is going and they're all coming in. And as Klopp always says, he will always play pressing. The counter press is his way. That's why he never buys number 10s. Because he wants to play the counter press.
You say it, Jamie, just before we move on. You mentioned it just a few moments ago. Once that press is back, that's what Klopp's principles have been ever since he was at Mainz. You know, that's what he did at Mainz, at Dortmund. It's what's won us all these trophies. Every single man on the team works hard and presses their man, and you do it as a collective, and that was missing last season. And I did a tweet at the end of the Liverpool game, our pressers back, so Liverpool are back as far as I'm concerned. Such a basic thing, but you know, it's something that, you know, if we can keep that intensity up for the entire season, which of course we could, hopefully we don't rely on Szoboszlai every game because that guy's going to be blown out by Christmas if we do. But whether it be Gravenberch, Jones, Elliott, we've got options now. Stefan, we've barely even spoken about him. So Thiago, another one.
Yeah, we've got options. Yeah. We've got options, man. Big Up Honesty says, question, boys. A couple of players said we went and need to win the league. Do you guys think our winning mentality is back compared to last season? Yeah, I think our winning mentality is. There's definitely we're hard to beat. We've gone 15 games unbeaten. Liverpool under Klopp, we've had moments, but we usually are very difficult to put away and beat. And you know, the Newcastle game showed me that with the mentality side of it. I think that most of these boys in this team as well looked at last season and know that weren't good enough. Liverpool are very good at revenging seasons the following year under Jurgen. You know, when they feel like they've been misdone, or like the year we didn't win the title but we won the Champions League, the boys wanted the Premier League and went and got it. You know, the year we just about finished fourth because in lockdown and everything, we just about finished fourth. The boys didn't think that was acceptable. Went on the following year and almost won the quadruple. They've got. I think this is going to be Liverpool's revenge tour. I look at a lot of teams. Yeah, I heard Chelsea fans talking. A lot of Chelsea fans talk about Liverpool's midfield for some reason. No idea. I don't know if it's to do with this Casado and Lavia stuff. It's mad, but for some reason they keep bringing up Liverpool's midfield all the time. So there's not enough quality there. And I look at all the teams in the Premier League. Yeah, I think a lot of Premier League teams now have got good midfields. Look at West Ham. West Ham got a lovely midfield three. Tottenham got a lovely midfield three. United haven't. Liverpool got a lovely midfield three. City got probably the best midfield three. Arsenal saying that Arsenal could probably have the best midfield three. There's a lot of the big teams. A lot of teams now have excellent midfields, yeah. But then I look at the depth behind everyone's midfields. You look at Tottenham's three: Bentancur, Basuma, and Maddison. After that, no one really. They just let Ndombele go. What's after that? Arsenal, Declan Rice, Partey, Odegaard, and they got Vieira and got a few there. City is City. Now I look at Liverpool and think, all right, what's Liverpool's best front four? What is going to be by Christmas time when Liverpool have played so many games, everyone's fit, the shape's the shape, and we all know where everyone's at. What is Liverpool's best three? We've got Gravenberch in there now. You've got Thiago when he's fit and available. Everyone still says he's Liverpool's best midfielder. You got McAllister. You got Szoboszlai. Look at the quality names I'm giving everyone here. And there's rival fans out there saying Liverpool ain't got quality in midfield. Curtis Jones is a decent squad player. I don't care what anyone says. He just is. Yeah. Harvey Elliott, his appearances he's making at the moment, where he's coming on for 20, 15, 10 minutes, he's putting in good cameos. And if that's the kind of player he's going to be for Liverpool for this season, that's a decent squad player again. Stefan Bajcetic, who a lot of Liverpool fans absolutely adore, and has obviously got a very bright future.
So good.
So there's quality there and there's good balance there. But when this Liverpool team gets going, and it's like every other team, because first four games, usually go Christmas time, don't you? That's when you get a real know how your team's doing. What do you think Klopp's best midfield three is? Taro Hendo's in there, of course. He's more of a James Milner player this summer. What is our best midfield three? Because Klopp is bigging up Gravenberch, by the way. He's got to play games.
I think it depends on Thiago. If he's fit, he starts. That's as far as I'm concerned. But I feel like now we're in a good position where when he is fit, whenever that may be, we have the depth now where we don't have to just hang him out to dry every single game. We might be able to pick and choose the games where we play Thiago. And I think that is always what we should have done with him when we signed him. We knew that he had injury problems. We should have brought in at least one more when we signed Thiago. He'll start if he's fit. So that's his spot taken, sort of left centre mid. And then right centre mid, Szoboszlai picks himself. Can't imagine life without him now, and that's crazy to say because he's only been here for four games, and he's already made himself a fan favorite. Everybody is rightfully waxing lyrical about him, and then that leaves the DM spot. And I think you're right. I think whilst McAllister, yes, he might be able to play further up the pitch, mate. But even if you look back at Brighton, if you look at Argentina, he has played deeper more times than he hasn't over his career. And I think he's even said in interviews that he likes to play a bit deeper, to be fair. So I don't know why Liverpool fans, just because he's not 6'4" and he's not so strong and powerful, I don't know why everyone's opposed to that. It's where he's played. He played in a double pivot there with Caicedo, and that was the best two in the league as far as I was concerned last season.
He made Caicedo look better as well.
Exactly. So, yeah, I think it's those three on paper. But like you say, Stefan Bajcetic, let me just talk about him for a moment because
go for it.
Stefan he's a wonder kid. And I think the biggest testament I can give to him is when he got injured last season, he only just turned 18, right? So he's 17 when the season started. Once he'd started playing, he'd only just turned 18. And then as soon as he got injured, which was more towards the end of the season, everyone was like, what a big miss that is. What a massive loss that is. An 18-year-old kid, Stefan, had the whole fan base absolutely gutted because he got injured. And
Pushed
yes,
for
that might be
Vigo out
because
of
we
team.
didn't exactly.
Pushed
Uh, and I think that's obviously a huge credit to him. We need to see after this injury how he comes back. Have full faith and full confidence that he's going to pick up where he left off. And I think I'm not saying I'm happy to be in the Europa League, mate, but I think that is a big factor this season for these young players coming through, because if it was in the Champions League, they wouldn't be able to play in that because we take that very seriously. So the Europa League, as far as I'm concerned, that's where Elliot, Jones, Stefan, Ben Doak, all these guys are going to be able to start.
Talent.
And
Talent.
yeah, ultimately, if they play well, they'll give the manager a headache.
The better squad than we give it credit for.
Mm.
I think the Liverpool squad's gone a little bit under the radar. Because of the year, like it's football though. We live in today and not tomorrow. I get it, and we don't live in yesterday either. Newcastle had a good year last year. Yeah, I was listening to Talk Sport earlier. I don't know why, but I had it on in the background when I was doing things, and I heard I can't remember the former. He's a Tottenham fan. He played for Newcastle and teams. I can't remember his name now, but he came out and went, "Yeah, Newcastle finished in top 4 without that." So where are you getting your confidence from?
Newcastle are not
3 in a
finishing
row.
top 4.
And he went,
No
and they go win every home game, their Champions League games. So what are you chatting about?
I've actually tipped Newcastle to drop into the Europa League.
Yeah, I think they're finishing. I think they'll win. I think they got a chance of beating Borussia Dortmund at home. Maybe getting a draw against AC Milan at home, because they're not the greatest travellers. But I just don't get their. I don't get this Newcastle confidence, and I don't understand why Newcastle fans hate us all of a sudden.
Yeah,
they're making a rivalry.
Your rivals are Sunderland. Like,
there's
come
no
on,
rivalry. I don't get it. And I look at all the teams and our squad and all that, and I literally feel it's between Man City, Arsenal, and Liverpool as the top 3. I think that's. I look at it and I think that's the 3 teams. I don't know what's going to happen with Chelsea. Pochettino could be gone by Christmas for all we know. Or Pochettino could get it right, and by Christmas time they start moving. Who knows? But I just don't know what's happening there. Man United are terrible. I believe Man United had the most false finish in the league last year, and it gave everyone their team's awful. The man, they spent he spent 400 million, but they're blaming the owners and not the manager. It just cracks me up. They got Johnny Evans and as a centre back.
One thing as well that United do, is, and Ten Hag's done a lot, is he throws his players under the bus
all the time.
And I think that's one thing which I absolutely love about Klopp. He will always take the blame. He'll always cover his players publicly. Whatever he says behind the cameras, no one knows. No one knows if he's giving it the old, throwing the boot at someone like Ferguson used to do. Obviously, he hasn't done that, but nobody knows what goes on behind the scenes. But at least in the public eye, to the press, to the media, he protects them. And I think that's obviously something that's made us so successful. You don't knock your players' confidence. You don't go to the media and say, oh, yeah, it was Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire's fault why we lost this game. No, it wasn't. It was your fault. You subbed them on. What did you think was going to happen subbing on Johnny Evans against Arsenal? Like, come on, what are we doing here?
Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire in the back at the end of the game.
Is this 2017 or something? Like, what's going on?
I look at it and I think Liverpool could, Liverpool got the best. For me, Liverpool got the best forward squad depth in the Premier League. I think Arsenal got a tremendous forward line as well. Saka, Martinelli, Gabriel Jesus, Trossard, and Eddie Nketiah are all great as well. But
Smith-Rowe.
Liverpool, Salah's the best right winger in the world, so he's over everyone. Luis Diaz looks on form now, and if Luis Diaz is on form, I think him and Martinelli are easily the 2 best left wingers. Then you got Gakpo, who's just that brilliant, versatile forward, and you got Jota, who just scores goals. He's just a poacher. There's goals everywhere, and then you got Darwin. You got Super Darwin. Who's just look. Darwin must be the most Marmite striker I've ever seen in my life, because I thought he had an excellent performance against Aston Villa. I really did. I know he didn't score goals. Yeah. The one he hit the post with, he connected with it too well. and that's why he hit the post. He sort of needed to scruff it a little bit. The one he hit the crossbar on, no one can have a go at him, man. Not that angle was ridiculous. And the one where he just sort of headed it wide, I didn't realise watching it live. I'd watch it again. Martinez got a hand to it before it
takes it away from
Darwin.
him.
So it took it away from Darwin because Darwin was set just to nod that into the thing. So really, the one that hit the post is the one he probably should have scored. But my God, his running in behind is scary. He's running. He might be the quickest striker in the Premier League. I'm not sure, but he must be because his running in behind is scary, man. It is terrifying. And also what I love about him, he will chase anything. I think there was a bit where, I can't remember what it is. I think it might have been McCann who put like a hopeful 50, 60-yard diagonal ball up, yeah? And I think it was Matty Cash was about 5 yards from the ball and Darwin was 50 yards away from the ball. And Darwin almost beat Matty Cash to the ball. You know, and Klopp looked over like that. Klopp looked over like that, smiled, and just went. Because if Darwin won that ball, he's created a chance for himself out of nothing. And the one thing I'll say about Darwin, out of all the strikers we have, Darwin's the one who creates the opportunities for himself more than anyone else. He creates
almost unpredictable as well, to be fair.
Yeah, he's a weapon. Look, does Darwin have to start every week? No. We've got so much depth there. But if Darwin don't start every week, guys, and there's big Darwin fans that are, why is Darwin not starting? Look at the threat he is from the bench. Look at that. Like, how many people have got that threat on the bench? You know, it's scary. And I'm really starting to love what Klopp's trying to build here. And we get the defence sorted, which I think will be next summer. You know, it looks like they've gone last summer and winter, they did the forward line. This summer, they've done the midfield. Might even buy another midfielder in January. And then next summer, I think they're going to do the back line and in next January as well. So, and have it all completed. But I like what Klopp's doing. I ain't going to lie. I think he's doing a great job. Just want to talk about some of the things that have been coming up on social media today, guys. So I don't know if everyone's noticed the Balon d'Or. The Balon d'Or nominations are out. Before I get to the main Balon d'Or nominations, I think we all know who's winning that. Let's talk about the goalkeeping Balon d'Or, or what is it called? The Yassin Award. Alisson Becker, who probably is rated as the best goalkeeper in world football, is not in contention to win this award, chat. I just think it's a madness. There's goalkeeper Onana's there. You know, Alisson is regarded as the best goalkeeper in the world by even rivals say it. That's how you know how good Alisson is. And he's not in for this award. And you got Onana there.
It's not even Onana, mate, for me. It's that guy that used to be at Forest.
Yeah, and you got names on there that keepers are like. Look, I can understand you got Ramsdale in there. Maybe I can understand it a little bit. Henderson, yeah, I get it. They won the treble. Martinez, I get it. He won the World Cup of Argentina. I get it. But then you got Onana and other names in there that are just like, you're telling me they will have better years than Alisson Becker. It's just, it's a madness to me. I don't get it, Benny. He's far and away the best goalkeeper in world football. Even rivals, I've not met a rival who doesn't even disagree with that statement. So
it's just because it's like you say, it's based on what the team did rather than what the player did, which is wrong. It should always be about the player, what they've achieved. It's an individual award. It's not a team award. And because we had a terrible season, he's obviously not been nominated. But like you say, it's complete and utter disgrace. Every single man and his dog knows that Alisson isn't just the best goalkeeper in the world. He's the best goalkeeper in the world by some distance. You know, we're talking about one of, and many people say he is the best Premier League goalkeeper of all time. Whether that's what you agree, it's up to you, but he's definitely in the conversation. And, you know, last season, without Alisson Becker, we finished 8th, 9th, 10th, comfortably, by the way. He saved us so many times last season on his own back. And it's just a bit disappointing, really, that, you know, whoever, I don't know how the Balon d'Or works. I don't know how you get nominated, but whatever the process is, that just because Liverpool as a team didn't function very well, that you've taken away. He was my player of the season last season. you've taken away that award from. I'm not saying he would have won it because, like I say, it's always team based. I mean, Messi's probably going to win Balon d'Or because he won the World Cup. Where in reality, let's not kill ourselves. It probably should be Erling Haaland based on individual performance.
With Haaland, I'm going to, because I don't think. If you look at this generation of football players that are up for world's best players, and compare them to 20 years ago,
it's terrible.
It's terrible. The level in drop. If Haaland is Balon d'Or, look, I'm not saying this is a hard discussion to have about Haaland because he's the greatest goal scorer in the world. There is no doubt about it. He is the best number 9. He's the best striker in world football. Yeah, I've got no problem saying that. But he's quite a meaty footballer at the same time. His attributes are scoring goals and nothing really else. Where there's probably a lot of footballers and a lot of strikers that are better footballers than Haaland, but not better goal scorers. And I just look at it and think, like, if Haaland and Mbappe are meant to be our 2 best players in the world now, that are the 2 elite players in world football right now, and you compare them to 10 and 20 years ago, it's not the level it once was, is it? It's just
no, but I do feel like every other time a team's won a treble and the guy scored 60 goals, that player probably goes on to win the Ballon d'Or. And by the way, I really hope Messi gets it because that's another thing City would have over us or over anyone. They've got a Ballon d'Or winner in their team. So I do hope Messi gets it. But just going back to Alisson just real quick, I just think it's a disgrace. Like I said, the lad from Forest who got them promoted and then they got somebody else in because for whatever reason, whether he wasn't good enough, I don't know, but he's been, I forgot his name, Brice Samba, that's it. And he's on the list. And Alisson Becker, who, like I say, single-handedly saved Liverpool so many times. As someone in the chat said Alisson did his job. Yeah, that's great. But
I think you say that jokingly.
Is it? Okay, fair enough. But other people we'll probably say that, like, he just did his job, but
better than everyone else.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the problem. Doing his job better than everyone else. Look,
that's what it is.
If the Balon d'Or
is a farce, aren't they? Though these awards.
Yeah, exactly. Look, if the Balon d'Or is serious, in my view, Messi probably wins it every year he's playing football because he's the greatest footballer of all time and the best. Like, while he's playing football, he was better than everyone else in the world, in my opinion. So, it might be a damn period where he might not have been as good, maybe the Virgil year, but it's still hard to disagree that he probably shouldn't win it every year. They don't go, look, the Balon d'Or is an award where it don't really go to the best player in the world all the time. Like I've seen it go to the Italian centre back for winning the World Cup. It's just not. It's just not that kind of thing. Haaland probably should win it if we're going wide by Ballon d'Or rules. He won everything. He's never going to win a World Cup. He plays for Norway. It's just never, So, are you never going to give him the Ballon d'Or because he can't do it internationally? But he won the treble. He won the Champions League, Premier League. He won the 3 hardest competitions in Europe. So, surely, by Ballon d'Or status, he should be the winner come when it's due. But
to be fair though, I have just checked, and when United won the treble in 1999, Rivaldo won it. So we keep going on about the treble. So fair enough. Back in the day when United won the original treble, somebody else won it. So
yeah, I'm trying to think that who in that Man United team was actually better than Rivaldo. Though.
Nobody, absolutely nobody.
That's the problem there. Or they go give it a Solskjaer. You know what I mean? So maybe you're right there. Maybe you are right there. Maybe Messi just wins it, but Alisson not.
Oh, David Beckham was runner-up.
Yeah, celebrity Beckham was runner-up. Yeah, Alisson should be in that list. We all know he should. Also, a bit of fun. The EA Liverpool rating thing come out. I don't play any of the FIFA games. I ain't gonna lie, because they're all dog shit. And now it's EAFC or whatever it's called. By the way, their logo and badge is really off-putting because it doesn't look like it's cut properly. It's really off-putting. It does my OCD. It looks like the bit that E's cut off. But their ratings have come out, and Mo Salah's been downgraded after having 43 GA the season before. I don't, I don't
It's
get
just
this.
all our players have been
don't get it.
disrespected, aren't they? But you know what, Jamie, right? I like it when it's like that in some
Yeah.
ways. You know, you don't want to put Alisson there for goalkeeper of the year, so be it. You don't want to say Mo Salah's as good as he is, so be it. People say, oh, this underdog mentality. Well, yeah, I actually like it because no one's expecting us to do anything now. And all of a sudden, we're going to come crawling and people are going to be looking over their shoulders thinking, you know what? Liverpool aren't as bad as before. They just had an off year. But yeah, those EA ratings, there's so much wrong with them. So much wrong. Thiago's down to 84 and Robertson's still at 86. And I love Andy Robertson. Are you telling me he's better than Thiago Alcantara?
Oh,
2 ratings higher.
Yeah, that game just does my head in. The reason I don't like them EA games because I believe they make kids not gamble, but you waste a lot of money on buying things in the game to make themselves better, and I don't think that's right personally. Before we go, guys, we're just about to finish up here. So there's been a quote come out from Fluminense's president. He's talked about Andre, and he said on Liverpool's interest in Andre, the executive director of Liverpool contacted me directly, and I replied to him, my friend, I don't sell a player now, and I don't deliver now. If you want to buy him to take in January, we can start talking, or if you want to wait until December, we can talk about it in December. So that's come out tonight. So maybe Liverpool go back in for Andre in January, which I think they will because they can get in dirt cheap in January. So it makes a lot of sense for me. Plus, it never made sense getting him this summer already because he's already played 30 odd games.
Yeah.
He'll be shattered.
I predicted we did a TAT stream on deadline day right up until 11, and it was pointless because we all knew after Gravenberch there wasn't going to be anything, but we just did it anyway, just talking about transfers. And I predicted that. I think that's what they'll do now. I think that will be the next move. Go in for him. If he's somebody who they rate highly, obviously, from what I've seen, you know, I'm not going to sit and pretend I watch Brazilian football. I don't even have time to watch all the English games these days, never mind other leagues. But yeah, from what I have seen, he looks more of a more technical 6, a more robust 6. He sort of move around the pitch a bit more. So based on what we said before, James, with the midfielders we've got in, I think that it's clear what direction they're going in now with these midfielders. And then if they bring him in, he adds to that sort of, can you defend? Yes. Can you also move and play football? Yes, sort of thing. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. That that Joe Tomlinson who does Football Daily.
Yeah.
Ginger guy, he's just tweeted and put laughing emojis that Alisson's not in there. And he just said like he's the best player in the world, has he not? He's the best goalkeeper in the world, has he not on this list? It's just madness to me. It's just madness. Yeah, I think Andre will be a Liverpool signing in January. I think that's what's going to happen, and that be part of our midfield. And he probably is going to be Thiago's replacement. I
was literally about to say, Jamie. Do you know what we've done really well in recent years? We've got the replacement in whilst the player that's leaving is still there. So with Gakpo, we did it. He's obviously Firmino's replacement. Luis Diaz, we did it. Mane was Mane's replacement. So if we bring this Andre guy in January, then I would probably say, yeah, that's basically the like for like with Thiago. I would be very concerned if we signed a right winger in January.
So obviously, quickly before we go, Mo Salah, Liverpool apparently rejected an offer. I don't know if these offers are real because no one I know that's high up in any Liverpool journalist has spoke about this being real. I think they're all verbal offers because Saudi, the way they do business is completely different. They just go straight to the source and go, we're offering you this. And they cut out the middleman. So the journos don't get fed that information. So it probably was a real thing. Liverpool have turned it down, so he'll be here till next summer. Mo Salah's got a 1-year extension he can add on to his contract next year as well. So hopefully Mo extends that. I don't personally feel like Mo wants to go in a way. I feel like if the offer was there and he went, he would go, but I don't think he'd kick up a fuss. Also, I think Mo Salah wants to get Liverpool back to winning titles. I think he's desperate for it. and he wants to fight for that. And if we got Mo Salah in our team, and we got all these good players coming in now and playing well, it can only be a good season. Look, I think we're going to have a good year. I can't wait for the international midweek to be over with. Then we're away to Wolves, I believe. Then is it Lask after that, or whether is it Lask?
Yeah, Wolves, Lasslins, and then I think Leicester
West
City in the
Ham.
cup.
Yeah,
or something. I don't know the order.
Yeah, because we got like I think we got 3 games in 9 days.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a good season though, guys. Guys, that's going to be it for us tonight. Bit of Liverpool chat there. Some things we don't usually chat about on the show, but it's it's a nice chilled one. Ben, thank you very much for joining me, man. Tell the world where they can find you, my friend.
Yeah, so on Twitter you can find me at SMXLFC, and on YouTube, the Anfield Talk YouTube channel. Yeah, we do match reactions, match previews, transfer talk, and yeah, we just started about a year ago, so we've only got about 2,500 subs. So we're just trying to get those up. So if you guys want to tune in, instant match reactions, match previews every single week with a guest from the opposition. I have kind of figured out that that will be quite difficult in the Europa League to get a Toulouse fan to come on the channel, but I'll give it a go, see if there's any out there. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Right, guys, you know what we're going to do? Go and subscribe and follow Ben over there, guys. Guys, we'll be back tomorrow sometime. Big up to everyone joining me. I do appreciate it. Thank you for now. Have a good night. See you later. Bye-bye.